Fabienne,
Oui,
tu viens?
oui, une seconde, j'arrive. Voilà, je suis là.
Qu'est-ce que tu fais? Ça a commencé là.
Oh, pardon, excuse-moi, je m'étais mis si en route.
Allez, c'est tout. Et
Sorry,
pardonne.
sorry for keeping you waiting. Hello, everybody.
Sorry, we were not on time. And time is what we will talk about today. And our inspiration is coming from the French magazine from Fauvarque, where they talked about time in a recent issue. So there you go. Let's take our time.
So, until a few weeks ago, we were living in an era of productivity, acceleration, and even precipitation. Key values in our society, with respect to time, were efficiency and urgency. Our lifestyle was often very fast. Obviously, the recent COVID-19 crisis have greatly impacted our lifestyle and our relation to time. Some of us will get more time than they can fill and will be bored to death. Others will be seriously challenged and will lack time to do what they need to do. Time is going too fast for them. In such situations, we sometimes get the impression that we are losing control of our own life.
However, even if the lack of time can be in our world a real threat, time can also come with hope because it flows from past to future and enables us to remember, to act, to imagine, to hope, to make plans, to be. And in fact, we are not powerless. We can do something to control our time, or at least the way we're using it. As is written in the book of Ecclesiastes, there is a time for everything and a season for every activity under the heavens. It is possible to make real choices, such as choosing to take the time to love, to take the time to be ourselves, to take the time to be in relationship with others, even in the current situation, using phone calls or video calls. So today we'll reflect on how each of us is approaching the concept of time and how our differences could generate tensions or difficult situations in our relationship. By understanding better how we react to time, we can look at ways to managing our time better for the good of our relationship.
So time is money, as we commonly say. This means that time is a valuable resource, which we dream about, which we don't want to waste. We never have enough time. Our personal approach to time has an impact on our relationship with our spouse, with our children and others. So let's step back and reflect on how we can become overloaded, how we suffer under the passage of time, and how we can let time go beyond our control. For example, at the beginning of the COVID-19 crisis, our time was flying fast. Our three boys were back home, which meant additional housekeeping work. I had to adapt my new way of teaching my French course online, which took additional effort. And Gregory had to adapt his new way of working, spending maybe 19% of his time talking to his colleagues through a computer screen. So the two of us just didn't have any chance to spend time together.
So we decided to both write a dialogue letter on the situation. I personally wrote about how our relationship seemed tenser, how our closeness was slowly fading away. It was hard to put a finger on exactly what was wrong, but despite our additional time together on the same roof, our quality time was shortening. And this made me feel uncomfortable. I was spending a lot of additional time working from home due to inefficiency I had to compensate, and my work was just taking most of my time and my attention. I was feeling responsible for the impact on our relationship. I felt disappointed, sad, unsatisfied by our lack of closeness. My need for a harmonious relationship with Fabienne was touched.
I wrote about how I was missing our quality time together. Breakfasts were often interrupted by one of our boys joining us, or shortened by the need to go to work. All the other meals were spent with our boys talking about minor subjects. Our evenings were short as Gregory was exhausted after a long day at work. I felt sad, like when I missed an appointment on phone call with my best friend. I felt disappointed in that where we were not dialoguing about the situation despite my several requests. I also felt responsible as I was going from one task to another and without sharing my expectations. Time was just flying away. My need for a harmonious relationship with Gregory and my need of his support were seriously challenged.
So after this dialogue, we both acknowledged that we were living parallel lives under the same roof, both totally entrenched into our own busyness. Our time was really stretched, and our relationship was suffering. After realizing how little time we had to talk to each other, we took the decision to consciously stop our activities at least once a day to reconnect. We even had a couple of dating evenings where our sons were not allowed in the kitchen whilst we were having dinner.
So, each one of us has a personal behavior, a personal attitude when it comes to managing time. This behavior has been influenced by our childhood and by our family. Through unconscious imitation or opposition, we developed certain habits and a specific lifestyle. But even more, our behavior is linked to our natural personality. Let's spend a little time reflecting on how we would naturally spend or manage our time. To get us started, these are few example attitudes taken from our daily lives. Oui, maman, c'est Fabienne. Ça va? Oui?
Maman, elle est où ma chemise à fleurs?
Elle est là.
Merci.
Oui? Oh, mais si ça va. Ah, attends, 2 secondes, j'ai un message. Oui, voilà, je suis là. Reviens.
Bon, alors, la peinture de la chambre, c'est fait. La table du salon, c'est fait. La table du jardin, c'est fait. Et maintenant, il faut tailler la haie. Voilà. Et ma chérie,
Oui?
t'as appelé la banque pour débloquer ton compte, au fait?
Oh non, j'ai pas 1 minute avant. Je te fais mince.
These are just a few examples that we have illustrated, and we will all have many ways of approaching the time we have, managing it, spending it. To help you understand your own attitudes to time, we want to propose a little reflection. This will help you become aware of how we naturally react to time and what choices we would make spontaneously. On the screen, you will see a list of behaviors just to get you thinking, to get you started. We suggest you read these descriptions once and then answer the questions. The questions are: what do I like or dislike in the way I behave when managing time? When thinking of my spouse's behavior when managing time, what do I appreciate and what is more difficult for me to accept? So you'll have to pause the video to answer the question.
We hope this was useful for you. As you reflected about your behavior regarding time, you may have thought of some situations where tensions were created by your differences. When facing these tensions, we may well experience very strong feelings such as annoyance, frustration, sadness, powerlessness, anger, discouragement. In our mind, we could think, he will never change.
Or I cannot bear this any longer.
We will never agree. These frictions in our relationship, and we have the impression that we are prisoners of our situation due to the difference between our attitudes. Our behavior can be so different that sometimes we constantly try to be a winner in the battle of time. It is either your time or my time. Or I could be tempted to impose my rhythm to you. These tensions can have a negative impact on our couple relationship or our relationship with others.
But, however, this is not a hopeless situation. There are ways to get out of these regular traps by deciding to communicate about these differences using this fantastic tool which we discovered during our ME weekend, dialogue. We can choose to dialogue on specific situations which generated tensions due to our differences in approaching this concept of time. So, for example, we could dialogue about when recently we were not ready on time for an online meeting.
Or when one of us spent too much time at work and stopped late in the evening.
Or when we go to bed or get up at different times.
When I appreciate having more free time nowadays, whilst you prefer to be kept busy.
Or when I like to take decisions about important purchases rapidly, whilst you prefer to take your time. So this list is obviously non-exhaustive and depends on your own situation. So we are now coming to the end of this presentation, and we hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for listening to us. We have 2 suggested dialogue questions for you for the price of 1 even. So when you write, we suggest you start your love letter with a quality you see in your spouse now. And the questions are: what do I dislike about how I spend my time in the current COVID-19 crisis? What does it tell about myself? How does it impact our relationship? What are my thoughts and feelings sharing this with you? And second question: when realizing a difference between us in our way to manage time, I think of a recent situation which created a tension between us. How do I feel in this situation?
Bye-bye.